Now we're live.
All right, good.
It's so early in the morning for you.
It is not. Oh my God, it's only 3 a.m. So, I mean, we got about 2 hours of sleep, and I should be honest.
You're good.
I feel amazing. No, I'll be honest with you. It's been a rough weekend. So I'll tell, as I say, Dr. Nelson, I feel like mierda.
So we are live, by the way. Everybody, this is Chris Brandlin, the carnivore lawyer. He's running for Congress in Nevada, and Dr. Nelson's going to ask his usual questions. But I want to say today we're giving away a Chris Brandlin shirt. I just let him know he's going to ship it out.
I wanted another shipment. So, and by the way, I just locked down the Vegas location, so I'll let everybody know about that too.
Awesome! Okay. I'm so excited about that.
So a couple of things before we start. Good morning, everyone, wherever you are. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Put your questions in the chat for Chris, and in the description, you should have the link to sign up for the Kills Mighty Tribe. If you're not a member, it is free. So go there and sign up. There's a link also for the meetups. We have one coming up in just 10 days in Seattle, Washington, and then later in the month in Boston, Massachusetts. We're expecting a lot of people to come in and have some community with us. A lot of people, very known, well-known people are going to be there, so you don't want to miss it.
I'll be at both of them. So
Dr. Kills is going to be there, and Chris is going to be there in both of them. Great.
I actually just changed. I was going to be for Boston, but I just changed my plans to go to Seattle as well. So
awesome.
I may not be well known, but I'll be there.
You'll be well known by then. And he's going to be speaking for a few minutes at our Boston events as well.
I'm celebrating my 40th birthday, actually.
Okay. Are we going skydiving?
Actually, I'll probably skydive the actual birthday on the 25th. But I mean, you don't celebrate your birthday in the middle of the week. You always do it on the weekend. So the weekend will be the Boston.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Also in the description, link for consultation if you would like to do that. All right. So, Chris, how are you doing today? It's 3 a.m. where you are. Thank you for being here.
It's all right. And I actually have a function with, Congressman Tom Massey is coming on tonight to it in Orange County of California, and that's at night. So it's going to be a long day. I think that's going to like 8 or 9 o'clock at night. So, yeah. And then I'll be driving to Vegas tomorrow morning at 3 a.m. So it's going to be rough.
I don't think you have any lack of energy. Having seen you in a couple of places already. So tell us first about your carnivore story, and then we can talk about your campaign and what you're trying to do.
Sure. Since I told this story more than once, I can get faster and better at it now. So let's do that. I'll try not to speak too fast because I do speak very fast sometimes. Anyways, I came from the health and fitness industry before becoming an attorney. So during college and law school, I was a personal trainer. But actually, when I went into law school, I became an all-natural bodybuilder. I basically sobered up and I took it to a new level, and I went from like 195-pound powerlifter down to like 155-pound when I was competing for Mr. Los Angeles Natural, what I won in 2010. Passed the bar exam and was still practicing law after 2011. 2015, 2016, started feeling sick. I didn't know what kind of provoked it or caused it. Could have been some autoimmune, could have been Lyme, could have been some co-infections, could have been stress. But I made the biggest mistake by going to conventional doctors for my help. And I say conventional for a reason, because I do love a lot of functional or alternative medicine doctors, many reasons, and especially carnivore doctors like Dr. Kelson yourself. So I never used to go to a doctor. So when I finally went to a doctor, because I usually went to a doctor because I'd break a lot of bones as an athlete. And I'm like, I just broke my ankle, doing a backflip off the roof or something like that. Just something stupid. But I actually was like, I'm not feeling well. I'm not used to going to a doctor because I'm not feeling well. And he said, well, it's probably some It's mainly your gut. So you probably have some small intestinal bacterial overgrowth that, SIBO. And you may have some other kind of just gut inflammation problems. So we're going to give you some pharmaceuticals. We're going to give you antibiotics. We're going to give you laxatives, and we're going to give you corticosteroids. And it was basically, after that point, it was a downward spiral. I became, instead of a patient, I became a routine customer, just coming back to the doctor. He's like, hey, see me in a couple of weeks. Let's see how you're doing. And then they started rotating these pharmaceuticals, which made me worse. And it actually made my intestines very inflamed over the course of about 15 months. This is like when I was dealing with the doctor. So I know some people have them chronic conditions for their life, years of pain. Mine was just a lot of pain in a short time frame. It was about 15 months, but then it ended up getting very inflamed. I was having gut discomfort when I saw the doctor, but then after all these pharmaceuticals, I was having gut pain. It was very inflamed. So they sent me to a colon surgeon. They found out that a piece of my intestine was very inflamed, my sigmoid, the lower portion. And he said, hey, if we remove this 6 inches about your intestine, you're going to feel a lot better. And I was very desperate at the point where I would believe anything. I was like, hey, you know what? I need my social and my dating life back. I've been kind of sick and just, I'm still working, but I need to have like a life back, and I need to start, I used to be an athlete. This is kind of depressing. And anyways, that's where everything went wrong, because the surgery had a lot of complications. I actually woke up prematurely from the surgery, so they didn't give me enough anesthesia, where I woke up right when they were sewing up my intestines in the surgical room. So I woke up in extreme pain, screamed very loud, and they had to give me a bunch of morphine, tramadol, put me back to sleep. And I was drugged up in the hospital. They released me too early without me moving my bowels. I started having complications. And then 3 weeks later, I get a big infection on the main incision was 2 inches below my belly button. I had a big grapefruit sized infection growing out of my stomach. I call it like the alien about to pop out of my stomach. And they had to rush me into the ER, cut it open, drain it, change the gauze. And then a couple of weeks later, same thing happened. Cut it open, change the gauze, ongoing complications. And towards the end of the year in 2017, they said, you know what, you're not getting better. We may just recommend removing your entire intestine. I'm like, right there, I just kind of recognize the downfall and spiral and habits of conventional medicine. And I basically told the doctor I don't trust him. You made my life a lot worse, and I'm going to see some other options. I'm going to look into this. And what I actually ended up doing, because I was having ongoing complications, I didn't want to lose my intestines. I actually did a 10-day water fast, extended fast, because I always did like 1 or 2 days fast and nothing extended. And this is the first time where I refed on just meat, because I was studying, Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride, that did the GAPS diet, the gut and psychology syndrome, bone broth to heal. I was like, you know what, there's got to be something to it. Let me just stick with meat first. And I felt so much better. And after that point, I started putting some pieces of the puzzle together, and I basically said, look, I am responding very negatively to plants, because when I was bodybuilding, I didn't have these complications. I was still doing little sweet potatoes for, pre-contest, and I was still doing some nuts and seeds and, vegetables in addition to the meat. I never really took meat out of my diet, but now I can only eat meat. So I basically, I think I Skyped with Michaela Peterson before she became popular in 2018. And then I got connected with Dr. Baker. I did like a consult with him. And then I wanted to get a little bit more in tune, so I stayed with the Paleo Medicina Clinic in Budapest, Hungary, run by Dr. Sophia Clemens, who I think very highly of, and I still speak with her today. I flew over to Budapest, Hungary in 2018 on Thanksgiving. On 2018 Thanksgiving, I didn't spend it with family. I flew over to Budapest to stay with them. Stayed with him for about 10 days, and that changed my life, because I was complete carnivore by then. She didn't let me take any supplements, too. That was one rule. I was like, hey, I was still taking some herbs and some motility, because I was worried about, the strictures and, inflammation in my gut. I didn't want to, the scar tissue. She's like, no. All you're doing is fat, salt, meat, water. That's it. You're going to have plenty of fat, so don't worry about getting constipated. And she was accurate. It was like night and day, and not just that. My gut felt so much better. So when I came back to the United States, I started promoting the carnivore diet, and they're like, why is this attorney like promoting this all meat based diet? We know you're an athlete, but now you're all meat. This is crazy. They thought I was a quack conspiracy theorist and, just a very weirdo. And then I actually wanted to promote it with, because I was already a dietitian too. I'm a dietitian on the side. I'm a dietetic technician, I should say. I wanted to get my master's, and I wanted to flip the food pyramid upside down with USC. I told that to Dr. Kiltz, and the USC's head program said, you have the credentials, but we don't like your motive. We don't, you talk about flipping the food pyramid upside down. That's ridiculous. So they shunned me out. So I ended up, getting, different kind of credentials. And then right when the lockdown started, I didn't let the mandates that were initiated on forced, government employees and healthcare workers losing their jobs if they didn't get vaccinated. So I made it a commitment that I want to get my PhD in public policy. I want to be the first attorney of my family, because my father and my uncles are all attorneys and judges. I wanted to be the first attorney that had his PhD, but I was actually doing it because I wanted to run for Congress. I wanted to make some changes at a congressional level because I didn't like the fact that our health of our nation has been deteriorating for the past 30 to 40 years. And I made that commitment, and I'm keeping that commitment because I made my public announcement on Fox News in January this year that I'm running for Congress. There you go. So I did about 15, 16 years in like probably 10 minutes. How's that?
I have a question about what was the diagnosis before the first surgery, and what did the biopsy show? Did it agree with it?
They never showed me the biopsy from the surgery. That's something I requested. They never released me. I got to find it from UCI, but that's something he never released. And that doctor retired since then. So I don't know. And not just that, I felt awkward if I wanted to do a medical malpractice suit against the doctor, because that doctor was a neighbor of one of my colleagues who was another attorney. So another attorney said, my neighbor is a colon surgeon. Let me just refer you to him. So I didn't want to be known as like, oh, Brandlin's suing Bob's neighbor. And they're like, don't refer him to any of your friends. He's just going to sue him. I didn't want to have that name. And I just kind of was like, you know what? I'm going to let karma take its course. Something's bad's going to happen to him. I'm not going to hope for it. I'm just going to let it happen. And I'm just going to make sure, my goal is to make sure that no one else goes through what I went through. But luckily I have a really good pain tolerance now, getting your intestines cut open. And when they actually had to recut me open, Dr. Nelson, no anesthesia. They inject a little bit of lidocaine around the spot, but I was awake the entire time.
Oh, sounds terrible.
Yeah, it's all right. But you see me doing some stunts lately. I have a decent pain tolerance.
Chris, we have a question for you.
Question.
It says, Chris. I assume Chris travels a lot by commercial air. Any tips for staying on plan with diet while traveling this way?
Yeah, actually, what I actually prefer, I actually do most of my fasting when I travel, like on the plane. Usually I'll fast for sometimes 24 to 36 hours before. And actually I feel like I can eat more of a dinner, like more of a steak dinner when I do different functions. That's what I did at Meat Stock too. I actually fasted the night before, and I just remember I took my campaign manager out and her out and whole family to a big steakhouse, and I think I ate everybody's steak. But if I do, what I actually found convenient was carnivore bar. That's kind of a good option for snacking. I get sensitivities to histamine, so a lot of people do they cook their meat beforehand, and then if you have pre-cooked meats, you can develop it kind of develops histamine responses. So yeah, but most of my fasting, but if you can find any grocery store, what I actually prefer, if you find a clean ground beef, sounds weird. I remember I went up to the mountain snowboarding one time, and I found like a natural grocers up in the state of Utah, because I went to Salt Lake City. I just remember that I just went to the grocery store when I was driving at 8 o'clock at night, and I just got some ground beef and I ate it raw for dinner, and then I went snowboarding the next morning. So I don't know. You don't have to think. I see it's Chris B. I think I got my twin here. It's another Chris B.
But
commercial air, no, because I am especially because I'm on flights every 2 to 3 weeks during this campaign. That's always a problem. But I actually spoke with another couple of functional doctors, and they kind of said that if you fast while you're traveling, it kind of helps reduce the effect on your circadian rhythm, because you get jet lag, and they could actually reduce the jet lag with fasting.
Oh, wow. Great to know.
I fast when I travel for different reasons. I hate having to.
Yeah, I know. And if I threw up like some steak right next to a person sitting next to me, I already have people like call me weirdo just for eating meat. And when I go to family gatherings, I actually bring my own steak, like a raw filet mignon, because a filet mignon is like one of the steaks it's so tender you can eat it raw, as long as it's from a good source. And everyone's like, "Oh my God, you're gonna get food poisoning." I'm like, "No, I don't have any food poisoning. I just shut up." I mean, you're more like you have stomach acid for a reason. What is it like? Stomach acid is supposed to be like 1.6 pH or something like that. So
About that, yeah.
yeah, it's naturally there to produce. It acts as a barrier for any kind of pathogenic bacteria in your order. So yeah, it's usually when people are taking these PPIs, proton pump inhibitors, and acid reducers are where they're getting gut problems. That's where they're getting H. pylori because they don't have enough stomach acid.
Yeah, our pH is very similar to vultures.
Yeah. Oh my God, I'm gonna start eating dead carcasses on the road. Let's do it.
No, please.
No, I wouldn't look out for the campaign, so it's cool. A lot of things
Well, I don't know if Rick is here, but
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I didn't see Rick in the chat yet. Lucy Zontic. Question. I'm carnivore for 6 months, love it, but I'm more agitated, irritable. Any suggestions? Who would like to take that
I actually have this since I have a high temper. Honestly, I have a hot temper, I should say. One thing I've learned, it's not really related to the diet itself. Sometimes when you get agitated, more irritable, or it could be if you're still having if you're still taking some pharmaceuticals. For me, I am an adrenaline junkie, so I still go skydiving, as Alia knows, and a couple other people, and I'm going to go skydiving again, and I jump off buildings, and now I'm going to be doing professional bull riding in September, and so that's you have to balance your parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. So you got to start incorporating the meditation techniques. And for me, my best kind of form of meditating is laying in a medical grade hyperbaric oxygen chamber. But yeah, I see Dr. Kiltz is showing a book too.
Christ-based teachings.
Oh, there you go.
What we read, what we watch, what we listen to, what we think is actually the main vibrational energy of our life. And so, carnivore, faith, fasting, and fat.
Yes.
And I am calm, healthy, and well. Not I am agitated and irritable.
You're going to tell yourself.
You have to speak.
Yeah.
And that's meditation, as you said. That's very critical for all of us.
It's true. If you tell yourself you're tired at 3 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, you're going to get tired. So I told myself I'm not tired.
Exactly.
And I said the same thing here in Columbus, Ohio. I said, "Oh, it's 5:30. It's time for Dr. Nelson and Alia."
Oh, I was going to ask you where you are today. So you're next to Adam Lacey today then, huh?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
All right, I'll take the next question. It says, Cookie Carter, do you think eating nuts cause your stomach bloating?
Oh, for me, obviously, I used to be able to eat nuts and seeds before the surgeries, but after all that inflammation, I don't touch nuts and seeds with a 10-foot pole. I think the only nut that would probably be a little bit more soothing is like macadamia nuts, because it doesn't have any kind of really rough insoluble fiber on the outside. It doesn't have the skins, and it's really high fat. It's got a better omega-3 to 6 balance. I just know that for my dietetic purposes. And I know there's actually some carnivores, they are more ketovores, but a lot of them incorporate avocado, and some of them incorporate like macadamia nuts and oils. Like I know Saladino is the fruit honey doctor, but and he incorporates that. But yeah, the nuts will cause bloating. It's not only just from just the fact it's fiber, but I think it's actually the insoluble fiber that causes inflammation.
And seeds and nuts are highly antigenic.
Yeah.
Lectins, oxalate phytates, but there are antigenic components and also goitrogenic components. So I generally stay away from all seeds and nuts, because you might think you're tolerating them, but they're doing their work under the surface. And then one day you wake up and you have a perforated bowel or IBS.
And you know what? I still have scar tissue. I still have to mobilize the scar tissue. As you may know, it's very difficult when, especially if they cut open your intestine in the same spot 3 different times in a row.
Oh gosh.
The scar tissue's reduced because I kind of mobilized. I use some, basically, I use actually peptides and basically saline injections to kind of help. And I use what's called DMSO. I couldn't tolerate castor oil, but I still do physical therapy mobilization like every morning because I still exercise every day. But I actually have to mobilize my scar tissue. But I can tell you right now, if I eat something very fibrous, it could cause a blockage. I can't afford to eat plants. I have to eat meat and fat for the rest of my life.
Makes sense. Next question here is, why is from Romcom's Cafe? Why is raw meat better than cooked? Doesn't the acid also result in a cooked by acid product in the stomach?
I don't know. I think Dr. Kiltz may want to take this better after me, but for me, I just know that the only meats I can handle decent cooked or is like a quick sear, and we call it, as I think we spoke with Dr. Kiltz in our podcast, we did the black and blue Pittsburgh style of like filet mignon. That's like my favorite when I get to a restaurant, depending on the date. But anyways, but for me, it's usually when meats are overcooked. For me, it's harder to break down. Not just that, especially if there's fat in there. If there's a lot of rendered fat typically goes through me, and that's why I actually prefer raw fat. That's why I did a video on like eating like raw bone marrow from quality sources or raw suet. For me, it's very soothing, but for me, I digest raw meat better if it's from a good source. But I know for a fact that I always have indigestion if I eat overcooked meat. So that's just my experience. Or I'll do like a slow roast at a very low temperature. That's actually the Paleo Medicina kind of a trick too. Most of their meats, they do slow roasting. But Dr. Keltz, go ahead.
Well, glycation, AGEs, advanced glycation, and Reed Pottinger's cats. So cooked meat, pasteurized milk is harmful for cats. Raw milk and meat is healthy for cats. So basically, you're damaging the molecular structure of what we are meant to eat. And if you think about it, what animal cooks food? Only humans. And then we cook food for cats and dogs and other animals, but ultimately, raw is the healthiest thing you could eat. When it comes to meat, when it comes to plants, it's cooked and fermented and soaked, and other methods of manipulating them that are less toxic. But raw meat is the healthiest thing you eat. And as you talk about, and Sophia Clements, who we interviewed a long time ago, we got to do another interview with Sophia. Really
Sure.
Amazing. It basically is the raw is the healthiest thing you can eat, and cooked is not healthy for us.
Yeah.
And read Podger's Cats. It's a great read. It'll teach you the truth. Pre and probiotics. This is from Judy Jones on Kilt's Mighty Tribe. Any thoughts on that, Chris? Ali, Nelson.
I haven't read around Judy Jones, but I know over the AGs, like, that's something that we discussed even with Dr. Sophia, is like, that's why she doesn't like cooking at very high temperatures. And that's why she's also sensitive with, how you're cooking it too. So, yeah, that's my only thought. It's personal experience. So, yeah. And by the way, I was trying to see how I just saw that there's comments. I was trying to see if I can connect to add to them, but hopefully I don't get logged out. Okay, go ahead.
Pre and probiotics. Any thoughts, Dr. Nelson or Chris or Alia or?
I don't know. I'm still deciding on the probiotics thing.
Actually, I actually don't. I think you discussed this with me, Dr. Kiltz, is that, if sometimes a lot of people are having problems because they have too much bacteria in their intestines, why, especially if it's in the wrong spot, because as you may know, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, SIBO, it's when you have too much bacteria in the wrong place and you have it in your small intestine. And so a lot of people, when they're taking all these probiotics, they're just kind of feeding, they feel worse. For me, I think your body has a natural kind of like ecosystem for its own kind of like natural bacteria where you shouldn't be putting a lot of probiotics. I never had any good experience with probiotics. So my only result is when I was having, because I had more than one occasion where I had to battle mold illness. And what is it called? Saccharomyces boulardii. It's actually it's kind of like a different kind of like probiotic, but basically it acts as kind of like a natural kind of antibacterial to bad pathogens in your gut. And they actually use it for people that actually have like E. coli too. That's the only one that doesn't give me, but I don't even need to rely on that as long as I stay away from mold. But for me, I've never had a positive experience with any probiotics.
I mean, what bacteria, yeast, and virus would you want in your bloodstream?
None.
Zero. And so, I mean, ultimately, they're everywhere. And I think the science of microbiome is going the wrong direction. It's true they're there. Is adding certain ones helpful? I don't think we've really proven that, but we do know that overgrowth. And if you look at Salisbury's work on the microbes that proliferate in the gut, they go out the rectum, anus, they go up into the esophagus, upper and lower respiratory systems, and likely the cause of most of our diseases. It's the overgrowth of the microbes. They're there, and we want them to be kept at check, kept at a reasonable level.
With the SIBO, one of the problems is many of the medications that we commonly use might contribute to that a lot. If you're using a lot of acid reducers, then by reducing or increasing the pH, which is going towards the alkaline, that promotes growth of bacteria in parts of the intestines that normally don't have as much, like the small intestine. Most of the big load of bacteria is in our colon, not in the small intestine, and lowering with acid reducers our acid or acidity may contribute. Also, the use of antibiotics frequently, especially, antibiotics can be lifesavers, but we shouldn't be using it just at the drop of a hat.
Right. This Michael says Dr. Shadamara is a proponent of carnivore with fermented foods like kimchi. Just thought I'd throw that out there because you talked to Dr. Amara.
Right. So basically, if you're going to eat a plant, it should be either cooked or fermented. And ultimately, we can eat some of these things. I just question like how important they are. I don't think they're that important, but Sean Amara's got some really great stuff for sure.
For sure. Okay. Lynn's, I always mess this one up. Lynn's Osiet. Okay. Can we talk more about the benefits of consuming castor oil? New carnivore here, and I use it for body moisturizer.
No, it's basically a very harsh laxative for your gut. It will clean you out, but at the same time, it's going to inflame your intestines. I actually used to do castor oil packs before the surgery because it kind of like, castor oil would basically, you just put it on your stomach and let it absorb in. But I can tell you right now that there's so many plants that I really act negatively to. And I think after the surgery, when I tried to use the castor oil pack, it gave me complete painful like diarrhea. I would never do it again. And not just that, it was blistering some of my skin. So my body just kind of had a wake-up call after the surgery, like you should never have any plants for the rest of your life. And I'm happy to live like that. So, yeah.
Okay, great. I'm going to say hashtag Chris to get a chance to win this awesome shirt. Not the actual one I'm wearing, but another one.
Yeah, I got them all. I'm gonna order some bulk amounts, and we're gonna actually have probably a few hundred of those at my Las Vegas meetup too. So
awesome.
I will be. I'm just locking in my commercial insurance coverage, but I'm gonna be posting the new updated flyer. So it's actually gonna be a nicer part of Las Vegas. It's actually in the Summerlin area, up on the hills, and it's a very nice community center. So I'll be advertising that, and we should have, that's going to be July 19th. That should be a very fun event. And I'm very fortunate to have, hopefully he still remembers it, Dr. Kiltz, you're supposed to co-host. You're going to be the main, like,
he knows.
All right, good.
What's the date again?
July 19th. This is
19th?
you proposed, by the way, too, because you
they tell me where to go, what to do, but yeah, I'm excited about that for Vegas. I've never been to Vegas.
Oh, okay. Oh,
You're-
really?
I have once.
Yeah. Yep. Avocados. Any thoughts on avocados? This is from Chris Ovard, KMT.
My personal experience, it doesn't cause as much inflammation as some of the other ones, and that's why a lot of ketovores or people that are like mostly carnivore, a little bit of keto. There's a lot of people you'll see them like they post like photos of like steak, eggs, and avocado. I think it's also from my understanding, maybe Dr. Kiltz is probably the best person to answer this, but I think it doesn't have as bad as omega 3-to-6 ratio as some of the other plants. And I think it's more omega 9s though, isn't it? Is it more monounsaturated?
Dr. Kills hates avocados.
Well, avocados. My daughter's
Avocates, right?
allergic to avocados and bananas, and I think an avocado is a fruit, not a fat. And every time someone says, "Oh, I eat healthy fats and an avocado or seeds and nuts," I say you're nuts. And basically, yeah, I don't touch it of any significance or frequency.
If I'm gonna eat something that is not animal, I might have a piece of avocado, olive, or pickle. Like probably those are the ones that or macadamia nuts. By the way, macadamias are not as high as in oxalates as many of the other nuts.
Yeah.
We're gonna have the oxalate lady tomorrow. In 6.
Oh, we are going to have the oxalate lady tomorrow, Sally Norton.
Oh yeah,
Oh, cool.
love Sally. She's a rock star.
Total rock star. And Dr. Nelson has the homework assignment to finish. Don Smith, Dr. Kiltz, can you share where you are in Columbus for a meetup today?
I'm in Columbus, Ohio, on a healthcare conference, and so I'm excited to be. I'm going to talk about, guess what?
Carnivore.
Yeah.
Is it a main healthcare conference? I mean, not within the carnivore community, or
correct? Not
Yeah,
within the
no,
carnivore
this is
community.
actually, well, it's a healthcare investors, and people that are kind of talking about new and different ideas on healthcare. Which my job here is to talk about my ideas on healthcare, on how social media is the new social medicine, helping people take control of their healthcare, and ultimately, each and every one of us must individually invest in our health and wellness, like Chris Brandlin and all of us together are realizing the power of healthcare isn't in the government, it's individually in ourselves, and learning ways to know that maybe what we're teaching people is wrong.
And I actually want to bring up something about that too, because I think you are right. Is that sometimes I do believe, because I asked you at the Yuma meetup in Tennessee, whether it's ever going to be possible to change the curriculum for all the medical institutions, because they're primarily focused on pharmacology now. So, I mean, I have a lot of doctor clients, and Dr. Shafee who told the same thing with me when we're speaking, is that, yeah, most of the medical institutions nowadays, they're teaching everybody pharmacology. For every problem, there's a pill or there's an injection, or it's basically a pharmaceutical to treat all the problems. So doctors are getting less kind of education on natural, dietary advice and like metabolic health, let's just say using food as medicine. But they think, a lot of them think they're really helping people. But if it's impossible to change the medical institutions, let's just say it's impossible to change them, they're never going to change their curriculum because they're getting all their funding from big pharma, and that's going to happen for the future. Who knows if we'll ever put a stop to that? But what about decentralizing healthcare? How do you think about that, Dr. Kiltz?
Well, we're making it a community-based health and wellness, like our ancient communities used to be, where we would talk amongst those elders that have experience in understanding what we should eat, what we should not eat, how we should live, a higher power. We're gonna hopefully. I don't know when we're gonna have Kim Vandala on about return to simple. And it really is exactly what we're talking about. So I'm in the standard healthcare world. My job is to embrace it and speak up in it in order to make some of the changes within it and outside of it. We're here to do the work together. So I'm not here to chastise, because there are some times when you may need standard medicine, but I think what we're saying is that maybe standard medicine should be that rare emergent thing that we utilize, but we want to be out there speaking up about why we believe that keto, carnivore, faith, and fasting are critical for our health and wellness, our families, and our communities.
Yeah, agreed. And that's why, there's a lot more discussions. I think you posted this too, and my client, Dr. Shafee, posted this as well, is that, let's start doing more clinical trials to prove that a carnivore or even just simply a ketogenic diet will improve a lot of people's conditions. You could take their blood panels, their blood markers before and after the clinical trials to prove that they actually reversed a lot of their conditions simply by diet, and they did not need to rely on any pharmaceuticals. Mm-hmm. This is something I want to push in the Congress.
But I think we should simply share the stories, because the Bible is a far more powerful book than Scientific America is. And so when we get back to simple stories, because there's always going to be someone else's critical publication on why meat is bad, and it's going to be written by a scientific expert, and everyone's going to be like, I don't know what to do. And so I think as you are out there inspiring the communities to take control, that I think is one of the most important things we can do, is individually empower each and every citizen. Because really, if you look back at America, United States, it's built on citizens and citizen soldiers. We're essentially citizen soldiers every day, all of us.
Exactly. We'll take that. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was going to ask, were you going to read Don's question? Is that?
We already did. Did.
What are the top, I don't know, in your mind, Chris, top 5 quick points of things that you want to accomplish if you win your congressional seat?
Well, I still want to see if it's possible to change the medical curriculum in the institutions going forward. Okay. That's I don't want to give that up, because I really want all the medical institutions to teach your doctors some natural health kind of remedies instead of them just reaching, directing the pill cabinet. That's one thing. I would like to change the dietary guidelines for a lot of the public schools. I mean, does anybody recognize how sick and unhealthy all of the children now? I don't have any children of my own that I know about, but anyways, I try to make it as clear as a lot of these my nieces and nephews, I can just see when I go and see them at school, all their kids are on smartphones, and a lot of them are just extremely overweight. So that there's some really bad parts. And as a dietetic technician, I did clinical rotations with charter schools in Los Angeles County, and I was basically throwing up at when I saw what they're feeding the kids. They were basically demonizing meat, so that needs to be a change. And I also want to push for more clinical trials on ketogenic or carnivore lifestyles to show that let's direct. If we have control of federal funding, and we're learning that a lot of it was misspent for the last 4 years. Even Ray Charles can see that all of our federal funding was spent in the wrong direction, right? So if we can get some federal funding to basically contribute to more clinical trials to prove that a carnivore diet can basically enhance someone's health and improve a lot of conditions without the reliance on pharmaceuticals, people will stop going to big pharma, because they'll realize that a carnivore diet can truly heal you, and they can get more connected with all these individuals.
Congress needs to help our beef ranchers and our grasslands so we can raise more grass-fed beef.
Yes, and more support for farmers as well, too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But the best support for farmers is from the people who buy the meat. That's the support. And maybe we need to get away from government subsidies.
Yeah.
And let's, I think you're right in, we need to put the truth out about the health and wellness of humans that consume beef and lamb. and other meats that are fatty, and as you said, fasting, and ultimately, I think faith is such an important component of our lives, and it doesn't need to be religious. It really is communal, bring us all together, and that's what you're running for.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why I'm very proud. I mean, as you know, Rhonda, she came from Team Kennedy, and she's still connected. She's still connected with Team Kennedy, and so, even out the door. So she actually has a similar mindset, and she was actually the one that brought up the idea of like decentralizing healthcare too. It's just leave it to the states. There's this where you can kind of utilize the 10th Amendment. Powers that are left for the health and safety of all the individuals should be committed to the states for the individual rights, and then people can learn that you can have more of a kind of community relationship for your own healthcare. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of different focuses. I mean, if you look at the list of changes, I mean, I can probably write a thesis on it of what needs to be changed, but it's not all going to be done at once. You're going to have to do it in incremental steps. And I did this with a podcast with Dr. Urban Kiernan last week, too.
Judy Jones on KMT, it's so expensive to buy grass-fed. Now, all beef is grass-fed. It's either grass-finished or grain-finished. I prefer grain-finished, personally. I think it tastes better, has more fat. And I personally do not believe that we've shown truly whether or not one is better than the other. And as our good friend Ken Berry likes to say, just simply buy meat, whatever you can afford. It's still healthier than anything else you can buy. So I think sometimes the science can be a little snake oil. It's just eat meat, be the master. Simple. And I don't know the answer to an inositol other than it's reactive with carbonation. So it bloats, it makes more gas. Yeah. I stay away from it.
I actually don't even do sparkling water. I was doing some Pellegrino, but no, especially with someone like, and not just that, I actually have to start competing again. So I'm going into mixed martial arts. I'm going to be televised on, I think, ESPN on a wrestling match. This year.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I took up like an NCAA kind of YouTuber. Basically, he was a former like all American with the NCAA, like with Ohio, and he goes around doing like take me down for $1,000, and we talked about basically so that's gonna be July 23rd at Venice Beach, California, and I just told him, I was like, hey, how'd you like to wrestle a carnivore lawyer running for Congress? I'm turning 40 next month, so you're gonna wrestle a 40-year-old. I was like, I think you're going to kick my ass, but I bet you I could give you a good fight. So
you get in the ring.
And I'm training. I'm doing professional bull riding training now too on the weekends in Vegas too.
Fun. Let's see here.
Well, I just want to one other comment. Okay, sure. So through Bighorn Mountain Farms in Wyoming, they grain finished them on the grass. And think about it. Those animals were consuming the grass and the grains from the seeding plants forever. But the problem is that the what they're on in general is not as good. But I still think that it's vaccinations and antibiotics and hormones. You got to find all free in that, in my opinion. But go ahead.
And actually, I wanted to add on a little bit to that, Dr. Keltz, because there's a lot of people that actually prefer just, grain finished steaks because, it's fattier. And especially if you want to do like the paleo ketogenic, the PKD diet prescribed by the Paleo Medicine Group with Dr. Sophia Clemens, that's 80% fat, not 70% like the typical keto. You need to get more fat. So if you're doing a lot of the typical grass-fed, grass-finished steaks, it's too lean, and then you have to like start incorporating. You just pouring tallow on all this low meats. But as I understand, cows have like a multiple stomach system where they can break down a lot more grains, and that's why even if you get a grain finished cow, it's not going to have like a substantially different kind of omega 3 to 6 kind of ratio compared to a grass finished cow. Isn't that correct?
Well, I don't measure any of that. I think it's scientific gobbledygook because eat fatty meat. That's the healthiest thing you can eat. Keep it simple. And fat eaten suppresses the microbes in the gut, and it contains all the minerals, vitamins, and building block for your body. The lean meat is essentially protein poisoning. So that's why cooked meat is not as good. When you cook meat, you render away the fat, and that is not good. Rendered fat is not good for us. It's raw fat,
Yes.
raw meat. That's the healthiest thing to eat. If you want to be the healthiest, get back to the basics. Dr. Nelson, Chris, and myself, and Alia went hunting, and when we took the bull down, we began consuming it right there, and we had to pack it. The only place for your food is in your gut, because someone else is going to take it otherwise, and then you got to fight for the right for it. And that's why I think Chris is getting in the ring.
Yeah. And by the way, I did actually tag you, Dr. Kiltz, on my raw bone marrow video. It's so simple. You go to Sprouts and get the frozen raw marrow bones. You just let it defrost for like 20 or 30 minutes on the counter, and you just push it right through. Basically, it's like it's the most soothing thing for your gut. And I just told everyone, I was like, hey, I drove 2,000 miles the last 4 days. All this stress is screwing up my gut, even though if I didn't eat anything, even if I was fasting, the stress is screwing up my gut. So what I did is I went to Sprouts. I actually literally got a bag of frozen marrow bones. And I think like right when I pulled into one of my, because I have different properties I go to in like different states, I was like, all right, I'm just going to defrost like a marrow, like 1 or 2 marrow bones. It was the most soothing thing for my gut. That's just my experience.
Yep. And Kathleen Lamb says the important point is commercial farming is unhealthy versus small local farming. We agree with all of that. But when we're just simply trying to heal most people in this globe, get meat, get meat, start there. And then you can branch out from there. But healing our brothers and sisters, you got to do what you can do at all places in this world. So that's really, really helpful for sure. And those that are fed some grain on the grass, it's small amounts in a short amount of time. I think that, again, how are those cows taken care of and what's the soil like? But I appreciate your comments, everyone. Cool. Next question.
LG has a question. Are there bad things in fat if it's not grass-fed and grass-finished?
I don't believe so.
No, actually, I think the only thing you should really be concerned about is, I understand, just personal experience. When I eat a lot of poultry or pork that's fed a lot of corn and soy, I immediately feel like shit, mierda, right, Dr. Nelson? So I'm trying to watch my language more than usual. So anyways, but that's where I was kind of going back to the fact that, correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Kiltz, chickens and pigs, they have similar stomach systems with humans, or like a single stomach system. And I was told that that's one of the reasons why the omega-6. I know you don't focus on 3 to 6 ratios, but for me, if I eat a corn, soy-free chicken, it's the most soothing thing on my gut compared to a typical chicken. For me, just maybe personal experience.
I don't eat chicken.
Yeah, well, that's true. You shouldn't eat chicken.
Fat in chicken. In general, there's no fat in chicken. And again, you don't eat chicken raw, do you?
No. Well, what about pork?
Pork is beautiful.
There you go.
The animals. The animal. Oh yeah, absolutely.
I gotta step it up, man.
Bacon. Eat again. I eat raw pork, but it's often just the pork belly. Just slice up the pork belly. It's beautiful. Again, we've created stories of, you can't eat this, you can't eat that. Now, chicken, I'm not saying you can't eat it. It doesn't have a lot of fat, and it easily becomes contaminated.
Well, and I do believe that when I was in Hungary, they had some of the best pork in the world, but I was told this was they were feeding the pigs and how they're raising the pigs.
Here's a question for Chris. Smith. Chris, have you investigated the true contents of natural flavors?
I actually saw an article about that a few weeks ago, because I already knew it's never clearly defined, and I think it could mean it can be derived from over a couple hundred different ingredients of what's true natural flavors. And I don't like the fact that we're kind of that the FDA is kind of hiding a lot of the true sources of what is a natural flavor. And I think it puts too much kind of like it puts too many questions on what is a natural flavor, because it could be a lot of different things. But in my eyes, they're not really natural. If they're real natural, they wouldn't have to imitate it on a different name. So I wouldn't trust it. Especially, yeah, I think like I think it was Walmart started putting a lot of, like, when I travel a lot, sometimes I want to get a steak and just go to Walmart because it's open, but they had started adding natural flavors to their meat, and I'm like, it should have.
That's weird.
So I wouldn't trust it, to be honest with you.
What do you got to say about this, Dr. Nelson?
Well, natural flavors can come from, I don't know, probably hundreds of different sources. One of the sources is from the secretions from the anal glands of beavers.
Oh,
It's natural.
the beaver ass. Okay, cool.
Beaver butt juice when you're drinking your sparkling bubblies. Okay.
I'm glad I stayed away from it. So that's good. I don't have
Kathleen says it's 2,000 different things.
Yeah,
Wow.
I figured it could be like I knew it was at least a couple hundred, but I was told that it could be many different things.
Basically, you don't know where it comes from. It just
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to just mention again that we have the Seattle meetup coming up next week, in a week from Saturday, and this lovely panel's all going to be there. I'm not going to be there, but these lovely gentlemen are going to be there. And then we have CB Carmack says we should change the Boston meetup to the Boston Meat Party. So I think I'm going to start calling it that, the Boston Meat Party at the end of June. So we're doing that at the end of June, and the link to sign up for that is in the chat. All right, next question from Savvy and Sane. Okay, Chris, can you elaborate on your histamine responses? What foods exacerbate this?
I think a lot of people could have different reasons why they have histamine responses. For me, Dr. Sophia Clemens that believes that histamines are usually when your body can be inflamed. But for me, I think it's also because my office is in Los Angeles County. Even though I go back and forth between Las Vegas and Los Angeles, I go to a dry desert to basically a humid kind of like swamp, because that's what LA is. But I've actually had mold issues more than once, and I always realize that I can never get all the mold out of my body. So I know that when I'm exposed to mold, I can't tolerate like any aged meats at anything. Like I have to eat like really fresh steaks from like North Star bison. I couldn't handle like any aged meats. And people like aging beef because it makes it very tender, and it's some people, they feel it tastes better. For me, it's just, I think it may be individual, but it could be other things going on. I think it's actually, for me, I know that when I'm more exposed to mold, I get more sensitive to histamines. So yeah, aged meats would exacerbate it. And luckily I don't use any seasonings, and I don't even do dairy or eggs. I do complete lion. So I think it's the safest way, to be honest with you. But I just like eating fresh meats for different reasons. But if I stick with fresh meats, I don't really have any histamine responses. But the other Dr. Keltz or Dr. Nelson may respond differently.
That's good. Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
if you want to know more about histamine intolerances, guess what? Tomorrow at 3 p.m., we have someone to talk about that.
You guys have a 3 p.m. and you got me in on 3 a.m.? What's going on?
Well, that's only Nelson's show at 3, and I want to make sure you got to see Dr. Keltz.
I went to bed at 1 a.m. too. Okay. All right.
I'm sorry. This is new. Our 3 p.m. is new. Okay, Christine, to everyone, I guess everyone in the chat, what's the difference between Celtic salt and iodine? Or Celtic salt?
Salt, and most salt in the commercial world is iodinated. They add iodine, but ultimately, I don't think you need it. You can take some extra iodine on the side if you want, but I think if you eat the meat, you be the master. Do you take iodine, Chris?
No, I never take iodine. I was told that you can get natural iodine from fish, but I don't think you eat fish either. Do you eat fish, Dr. Keltz?
I eat some oysters sometimes, but I mean, my sense is the meat is got all the everything.
It's got all the minerals and nutrients that your body needs if you just stick to the basics.
And raw is the best way to eat it.
Absorb more nutrients when you eat it raw, correct?
And it's got more nutrients that haven't been damaged through cooking.
You know what? And I'm 50-50 raw cooked right now. But actually, my leanest during carnivore, actually photos from 2020, was almost going back to my bodybuilding stages. I realized how lean I was I was grinding my own meats. And look, I was trying to so I would grind the meats to make sure I can fully enjoy it too. But yeah.
Cool.
We'll take this last question. Elke, friend's daughter has constant yeast infections and UTI. Blame the microbiome. Years of issues. Is carnivore the answer? How to explain this? Yes, carnivore is the answer. Tell her it's a yeast protocol. That's a good one.
Well, not just that. If you're having carbohydrates and sugars, you're just feeding your yeast infections too. So you can keep watching your Palo-Saladino fruit and honey, but that's probably going to make you worse. You can just go 0 carb, and you could probably feel better.
A lot
Protein, better. Amino acids are fermentable.
Also,
they make sugar.
Gotcha. And by the way, I'm not sure if I'll ever be able to respond to all these comments, but I will do something. Instead of giving my personal cell, I'll give my work email. It's chris@brandlinlaw.com. I have 8 different emails, but I just know that I respond to that one the fastest, just because I have clients in different states and different countries that always contact me, and I'm always responsive to that too. And luckily, I don't have a wife and kids, so I don't really have to worry about anybody bothering me at night. So I can respond to your emails.
That's awesome. Okay, and last call for #Chris, because we got 4 minutes left to the live stream this morning. So there you go. #Chris to win this shirt. Some lucky person's gonna win this T-shirt.
I'm gonna get some more. I'll get some more interesting add-ons. I'll add meat heels, America first.
Oh wow! Thank you.
God, guns, and meat. Something like that.
I love that.
That's a true Republican shirt, right? So
yeah, we have to hunt. Remember, you have to hunt.
We have to hunt.
One last message from everything that we have been talking here. Just eat what you can afford. Is the meat. I do believe there might be a little bit of difference between, you can maybe put them on a scale of 1 to 10, but just eat what you can afford.
Right.
Last question, Bill. Yes, I am I'm not sure if you would call me informed. It's a subjective kind of description, but I am the lawyer, bodybuilder, future congressman. So I actually got asked from people from Team Kennedy to run for Congress when I told them I actually was thinking about running for Congress in 2028, 2030, because I'm finishing my PhD as we speak. I just got my IRB or approval for my dissertation. So I'm supposed to become Dr. Brandlin, I think, in the next month. So, but anyways,
nice.
Yeah, I am the future congressman. So yeah.
What district is it that you're running?
3rd District of Nevada. So, yeah, it's right now it's been held by Susie Lee for the past. I guess I got to win the primaries first. The primary is actually going to be right after Meatstock next year. It's in June of 2026. Oh, wow. And the only person that's going to give me probably a run for my money in the primary is the guy that created Halo, the video game. He's a video game music composer, or he's not. He's one of. I'm not sure if he's a creator, but he's got the most money in Nevada, Marty O'Donnell. So his thing is, I'm going to win this election because I have the most money. I'm like, you've been in video games your entire life, your career. You have no diversity, you have no kind of background. How is that going to teach you how to run a country? But hopefully people can understand that you actually have someone that, has been there, done that. And I'm willing to prove myself to the rest of the community.
And that district includes Nevada. I mean, includes Las Vegas, correct?
Yes, Las Vegas actually is the main portion of the 3rd District. It's actually Las Vegas. Covers over as a piece of Summerlin, a piece of Henderson as well. But mainly it's mostly western Las Vegas, because part of eastern Las Vegas, I think, goes into the 4th District.
Go for it.
Let's do it.
Do it.
Drum roll.
It's a drum roll? Oh, what is this? We picking someone?
Yeah, somebody's winning right now. This is how we Lucy Dante. Congratulations. You get some cool merch.
All right,
please
I'll get some
email
shirts.
me. Yeah, please email me, alia@drkiltz.com.
And tell her the shirt size too.
Yeah, shirt size, address, phone number, and I will forward that to Chris Brandlin, who will ship it out to you. Congratulations.
All righty.
All right, all.
All right, everybody. It's been the hour
You
of
have a
power.
great day.
It's an honor being
Tomorrow-
on your live
Congrats,
chat. Even though it's
everyone.
3
Have a
a.m.,
great
it was
one.
well worth it.
Tomorrow morning,
Yay.
6 a.m., Sally Norton. In
Be
the
here.
afternoon, at 2.
Oh, tomorrow is
Mean devotion.
Sally.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh,
everyone.
Sally's better than me. That's why she got the 3 p.m. All right.
No, she's
Oh,
3
No,
she's
Sally,
6 a.m.
Sally's here at
Okay,
6 a.m.
Kill Somebody Tribe, be there. Instagram, be there. And YouTube, Facebook, and X, and LinkedIn,
Rumble.
and Rumble. All right, all. God bless.
Okay, goodbye,
Have a great day.
everybody.
Hey,
Have
guys.
a good one.